got it?
Hey, wait.
Getting feedback.
There's feedback coming from that. You're gonna move it somewhere else.
Maybe just turn the angle. Turn it towards the crowd. Testing 1, 2, 3. Still there. The mic was on?
Yeah,
No?
try that now. Okay.
Hello? Hello?
It's supposed to. Testing, testing.
That's it. Turn it on again. Testing, testing. That sounds better. Getting there. All right. I called the meeting to order. It is 6:33. Could we have the public notice reading, please?
The Roxbury Township Board of Education is meeting in regular session for discussion on business before the board tonight. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the public's right to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies which business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the board has caused written notice of this meeting and copies of its agenda to be transmitted to the Roxbury Register, the Daily Record, the Star Ledger, the Municipal Clerk, and the Roxbury Public Library, and also the Roxbury website, roxbury.org. The notice of tonight's meeting has been posted in the board's business office.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bonilla. Mr. Botero. Mr. Coakley.
Here.
Mrs. Colucci.
Here.
Ms. Galdieri.
Here.
Mrs. McGregor.
Here.
Mr. Mildy.
Here.
Mrs. Purcell.
Present.
Ms. Shenick. Mr. Staples. We have a quorum.
Thank you. On our agenda is still got the feedback. A resolution to meet in executive session tonight on personnel matters, student matters, and attorney-client privilege. Would someone care to move that? Kathy? Is there a second? Brian, sorry. It's the age creeping in, yeah. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, so we are in exec. To anybody that's watching from home, we expect to be back at 7:30 for a public session, and if for any reason we're delayed more than 15 minutes from that, we'll have somebody come back and give you an update. Thank you. All right, we have a presentation, Roxbury's Month of Respect, Lincoln Roosevelt. Mr. Argenziano and school counselors are doing a presentation.
Chris,
Up, excuse me.
you got it.
I'll turn it to the superintendent here.
While we anxiously await that presentation, Mr. Argenziano, we are actually going to hear first from Charlene Peterson from New Jersey School Boards Association. Reason being is we are honoring Mr. Leo Coakley, board president, who is finishing out his final term here on the Board of Education. So just a small sentiment of our appreciation. Ms. Peterson is here to speak about Mr. Coakley and his many, many accolades.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to be here tonight. And while you talked about Leo's many accomplishments, I actually was going to talk about this a little bit differently because as we think about a board member, think about the role of the board member and all the work that they do, to me, while all of those things, Leo does amazingly well, to me what really separates him is how he does it, right? In the way that he carries out this role and carries out this role with grace, carries out this role with professionalism, carries out this role with kindness. And I think that as you look at what he's accomplished over the years, I think it's more the way that he has made people feel and the way that he does this work and tries to think about everyone else and bring the team together. So one of the things that this is kind of a poster that we have at New Jersey School Boards, and I thought that this really kind of helps define the way Leo does carry this role out, and said it's someone that listens to all sides, makes sound decisions, sees the path ahead, loves students and advocates for them, embraces new ideas, reaches out to others, is flexible as needed, stands up for public education, and said sometimes you have to wear that cape and be a superhero when it's needed. So I thought as we talked about those things, to me those are more the things that define the way that Leo conducted his work as a school board member, and I just think it has just been such an amazing experience to work with him. Feel like I have learned a lot from him. He challenges me sometimes to continue to do better, and I think it's just been so gratifying, too, to see the way as each one of you new board members have come along, as he and I both started this work together. He started in January of 2013. I started in December of 2013, so we've kind of come through this work together. So just to kind of see, too, how he has brought the rest of new board members through this process and tried to help everyone see this work in a way that's really in the best interest of your students. So if you could advance, please. So I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the accomplishments. So if you could advance the slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry. I have the clicker here, don't I? Okay. So just wanted to talk about really Leo's commitment to training, because that really helps define really the kind of the basis of everything that he's brought here to Roxbury. So New Jersey School Boards has different levels of certification, and so I can say that Leo has earned our highest level that we have, and that is a certified board leader. In order to accomplish that, one has to take so many classes that you get 60 credits. So so last night, actually, I was getting ready to go out, wasn't sure how many credits Leo had, so I said to my husband, I just got to print something quick. We're leaving, these pages are split out of the printer, and he's like, what are you printing? I said, that's Leo's transcript with all of the different classes on it that he had taken, because he actually has 120 credits, opposed to the 60 that we consider to be the highest level for a board member to attain. So just to see the dedication and the work that he's put into this. Attended most of our annual workshops in Atlantic City, And then we also hosted many conferences, and he attended so many of them with all different topics, again, to come back and help make this a better board. We say as much as the work that you do here at the board table, one of the ways you really help make a difference is to go outside of these four walls and then bring other things to, to bring back to the board table so that everyone else can benefit from that work. So Leo has attended conferences in all kinds of different areas, all student-centered and student-based, to bring back to here to help make your work better. And so not only was there a commitment to training with him as an individual, but also made sure then that there was a commitment to training for you as a board. So the board got like recertified, and then in 2017, and then in 2018 as a board, you earned New Jersey School Board's highest level of certification that a board can earn, and that's for boards to train together as a board team. So one level of certification requires 16 credits, and that's 16 hours together. Then the next level, the Carol Lee Larson, was 10 more credits. So like I said, your board earned that in a little over a year between the two of them. And since 2013, your board has 53 credits of training together as a board team. So again, just continuing to demonstrate that focus that not only you embrace as individuals, but also the commitment that Roxbury has made as a board team. And then in addition to that, also Leo was just recently recognized at this past Morris County meeting past May, where you as a board nominated him to be considered for what the Morris County School Board Association has is an award for excellence in boardsmanship. And as a result of your nomination and other people looking through that nomination, and I think there were like 9 or 10 people nominated, that Leo was selected to earn this prestigious award. So again, to represent the dedication that he demonstrates to governance, to Roxbury, and to your students, and to all of and to your board team. So it has just been a pleasure to work with you, alongside of you, and a pleasure to see your board change and grow and continue to develop as you being an important member of that team. So I just can't thank you enough for what a wonderful experience it's been to work with you. So thank you.
I just want to say thank you very much, Charlene. It's been a great noise. A great pleasure working with you, and I definitely learned a lot from you over the years. And I didn't know you were starting out in 2012 when I started in 2013. I thought you had 10 years experience already. And you were so good, so much advice. You've done so much for this board, including help us with the search for our current superintendent, that the board still pats itself on the back for how well we worked together. That was, I think, a star for the board of how well we worked, the eight non-conflicted members worked together for that. They accused me of having a whip that I made them attend all the meetings and read all the resumes. It's a virtual whip. So thank you. I appreciate you coming tonight, too.
Good evening.
This is Dawn Lucas. Ron Lucas's daughter. The microphone is for the people at home, so you won't hear the microphone coming through the speakers here. You're being live broadcast to thousands of people in their homes.
Tonight, maybe. Tonight.
How comforting, yes. Yes, my name is Dawn Lucas. I am Ron Lucas's daughter. They had a little bit of a medical emergency tonight. She'll be fine, but my mom, I am here in his place. Is this working? Oh, thank you. I am here in his place, and I'm told I look a little bit like my dad, so just pretend I'm Ron, who also wanted to honor you tonight. I was honored to be asked if I wanted to say a few words about Leo Coakley at his last board meeting, and I am very happy to do so. It was 12 years ago that I approached Leo desperately, looking for a third candidate to fill out our campaign roster. It was the day before the petitions had to be into the county clerk's office, and he managed to get the needed signatures there the next day. When I think about Leo, the following words come to mind: professional, conscientious, and his ability to work with people. You could see his professionalism by the commitment he made, always striving to be a better board member and board president, the way he handled issues before the board, and his determination to attend numerous state and county meetings and workshops enhancing his skills and understanding. He was conscientious about fulfilling his role as a board member, rarely missing a committee or full board meeting. Leo also attended as many student and staff events as he could so that he would show support and have a greater awareness of the district's activities. Leo brought an analytical and unbiased perspective to the issues related to his role as board member and board president, especially in the area of contract negotiations, which he was involved in for several contract cycles with teachers, administrators, and bus drivers. As a fellow board member, I respected Leo's judgment, and he became a mentor and role model for many board members, both past and present, of what a member of the board should be. I have no doubt that his beloved wife, Rita, a much loved and well-respected teacher in the district for many years, is looking down from heaven, pleased with his work and commenting, "Coakley, you done good." When our 30th president, Calvin Coolidge, was asked by a reporter what he planned to do in retirement, his response was, "Whatever I damn well please." Leo, now it's your turn to do whatever you damn well please. I know I speak for your colleague board members, district administrators, students, staff, and parents when I say you will be missed. Thank you for your service on the board. God bless.
Thank you, Dawn, and thanks to your dad for his kind words. Ron was my mentor as far as being on the board. He had so much educational experience. He had been a supervisor in Randolph, then he retired. He was a supervisor for what, 10 years at Pope John, something like that? So he had a wealth of experience from the education side and was able to relate that to how board members should be looking or understanding things. And I think the more we understand what they have to do, the more we can work with them rather than, rowing in different directions. So I really appreciate all that your dad did. Yeah, he did Shanghai me that first year, so. But I think everything turned out pretty good, so thank you. And your mom, too. She was Shanghaiing more people than your dad did.
Good evening. I'm Loretta Radelick, the previous superintendent here in Roxbury, and when I found out that this was going to be Leo's last meeting, I was fortunate enough to have some people reach out to me and let me know. Did not expect to be speaking. I just wanted to come up here and give you a standing ovation. But I did, I will say a couple of words about Leo because he is one of the most amazing people that I had the blessing to work with when I was here in Roxbury, and I'm very pleased that the new superintendent had some of that experience as well. Leo is the kind of person who is always willing to listen to every side, any side, and really look for that common ground to make things better. And always for the children. And I think that's where Leo and I really bonded because we both had that same mindset. And he was someone I could sit down with and we could talk about goals and we could talk about our vision for Roxbury, and we both love making lists. So it was just a pleasure and really a blessing to work with Leo. He was one of my board presidents. Carol was one of my other board presidents, and then I got to be with Leo again. So it was just a real blessing for me during those years, and I'm so pleased that Roxbury has had you for as long as they have. He has done everything from settle contracts to work with us with transportation, always thinking about his electric buses, but we won't go there. But he just is always looking for how can I make this place better and how can I contribute. And exactly what Dawn said, he is the kind of person who can bring all sides together and keep the vision of, for our students alive and always at the forefront. And you are one of the people I miss the most here in Roxbury. I miss all of you, but I have to say I miss working with Leo the most because he was just the kind of person, he is the kind of person who just puts his heart out there and really wants what's best for every single person involved. And I think that's why you were able to settle all those contracts. So congratulations. You will love being retired. It's wonderful. And yes, you get to do whatever you damn well please.
Thank you, Loretta. I greatly appreciate you coming tonight. And I have to say, I really enjoyed working with you over the years. And it got to a point where Loretta would call me and I'd say, I was just thinking of that, or the vice versa. I'd call her and she'd say, I was just thinking about that. And what I really liked is we reached some, like a lot of new programs and things, a lot of accomplishments, but you never sat on the throne of glory. You always had, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And kept making Roxbury better and better. And that's what it was great, and that's what it was all about. So thank you.
So in closing, Leo, I'll be really short and sweet because I don't like talking in front of people, but you have been amazing. I mean, from the day that I went to go meet Ron, because that's where I had to go meet your father, and he had to ask me what my agenda was, and I promised him I didn't have an agenda. I promised everybody I was very ethical, and then you became my mentor. So I am just so grateful that you have progressed me into having a lot of knowledge. You were always there to support, and I'm just going to speak from me. Taking us to meetings, it was always me, you, and Ann getting in the car. We'd go to meetings all the time together, and this is how I became a better board member, and the respect I have for you is endless. So I just want to thank you for everything you've done for me as a board member, what you've done for our board. You're the kindest, most honest person that I can tell you that we've had on our board. And even though we didn't always agree, you never made us feel like we didn't have the right to speak and say what we wanted to say. And I think that's sheer respect coming from you, whether you were a board member or our president. And I will be reaching out to you because I still have your number, and I will be reaching out to you in the future. Ann has something to present to you because this is how we feel about you. And a little bit of a portrait of a graduate, some nice kind words, and a beautiful. So we want you to really appreciate this
Nice,
because
thank
we
you.
love it. You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Kathy. I really appreciate you taking the kind words. And Kathy really means it, that she's got my number and is going to call me up because. Least I forget, well, we'll get to that later. Thank you all. I greatly appreciate it. Chris, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was coming, so.
the red on. There you go. So it's, Leo's kind of is a good segue for what we're here today to talk about, which is Roxbury's Month of Respect. I am fortunate enough to be joined with Dr. Zigar, Ms. Del Russo, and Ms. Urban. These are the three people that I'm fortunate to get to work with every single day. They come to school hungry every day. They want to make a difference every day. They go home tired every day, mostly because they work with me, but it's also because they're dedicated to our kids. So what I wanted to start off with is, this is kind of like a little bit of a hybrid presentation. We were asked to make a presentation today from Lincoln Roosevelt School. We came up with this topic, and then I didn't think it was kind of nice for Lincoln Roosevelt to take this topic, because this topic just isn't about us. So we're going to do a little bit of a hybrid. We kind of want to represent everybody. So basically, the month of October, I kind of say this all the time, I feel like I say it at the end of each month, is a very busy month around the schools, because we're trying to do a lot of different things with our kids during the month of October specifically. Month of October for the district was, the theme of it was to be strong, be true, be you, bully, and drug-free. So what do we try to do during the month of October, where we're getting our kids into the building, we're getting them used to the schedules, we're getting them used to being around each other, and how to be good Lincoln Roosevelt or Roxbury students? We try to concentrate on things about, strengthening our school community. Like we say to our students all the time, they're what makes the school so great, right? If they don't work with us, we can't do our job. We also try to empower them, okay, to accept challenge and face those challenges. No matter what age group the kids are or students are, they can always be impactful. It's really interesting when you get them together. Everybody's used to what the high school kids do, but when you get Lincoln Roosevelt kids or even Eisenhower students together, it's amazing what they can do. We try to unite them as a school to support our community, which we'll give you an example about in a little bit. Most of all, we try to make this a very, very positive climate and culture for the kids, because let's just face it, when kids are not happy, okay, they don't feel safe, they're not ready to learn. And that's our big goals: safe, happy, and ready to learn every day. We also want to provide them with positive character traits, which Mr. Coakley's done for us for over a decade, giving us those positive traits. We try to give them strong role models. We'll give you an example of that in a little bit. And we try to foster empathy and care that our students develop to have for one another as citizens. So here's a first example of us with Ms. Urban. Please come here.
Hi everyone, I'm Tara Urban, I'm the 6th grade counselor. So one of the things that we do to support the community is every year we have an annual food drive, and we make it a competition between the 5th and 6th grade. So myself and Ms. Del Russo will get on the announcements in the morning, and we'll make it kind of exciting. We compete against each other. And this year we raised over 1,500, or not raised, donated over 1,500 canned goods to Roxbury Social Services. As you can see, one of our 6th grade teachers won, Ms. Tafaro, who donated 596 cans, just her classroom. And it took 3 carloads to social services.
What did that winning class get?
A pizza party.
That's my turn. All right, so Lincoln Roosevelt has the honor of being able to kind of have these values that I mean, actually, you'll probably run into them if you walk anywhere around the school. They're everywhere hanging, which is our IPASS values. And these are the values that we embed within our school here. And we shut down our school so that we have the opportunity to be able to kind of reinforce those values, think about those values, live those values through kind of simulations of I can't say anything today. We were talking about this earlier. I'm losing it. All right, so what does that day entail? So we have a 5th grade day for IPASS, 6th grade day for IPASS. We put students through team building activities so that they can, develop those skills. These are non-competitive activities, teach them teamwork and be able to internalize, which is the word I was trying to think of for when I lost my train of thought last time. We give them teachable lessons within that. The students go through different types of ethical dilemmas. They talk to their counselors. They build on these values and how they can incorporate them in their day-to-day lives. We build peer-to-peer support. Students being able to learn that they can rely on each other in these non-competitive ways and kind of build on one another, reinforcing a really positive community. as well as taking those days and building positive relationships. So one of the things that students really need is to be able to understand that they have students and adults within a school that they can rely on when they need them. So we do that during those days as well. You again?
Did you see how we had him stammering over his words? I told you, we work hard every day around here. They're tired, okay? One of our big things we just got done with last week was our initiative that we started 2 years ago, which is our Field of Flags to honor our veterans. We came in second this year in the nation in the money that we raised for disabled American vets. So it was $3,817. We were really, well, we weren't as close as we wanted to be first, but we'll keep working on it. I hope most of you got to see Lincoln Roosevelt decorated for Veterans Day. But all of that is driven by the students of our student council with Ms. Rusbach, their classroom or their class advisor or their club advisor who organized that. They're the ones themselves that promoted the initiative to raise the money, but they're also the ones that went out and decorated the front lawn with over, I believe, 500 flags that we had this year. And if you want a little bit of a funny story, I won't go into it until great detail, but when it doesn't rain for 3 months, try putting a flag into the ground. I literally had to go get a drill to drill each hole for the flags with the children as we were after school trying to get it done. But again, it looked great. The kids did a nice job. The kids did it. And then on our Veterans Day activities to promote that sense of community and the sense of giving back to everyone, we took a special time in the morning to have the kids learn about veterans, who is a veteran, hear stories from veterans, and then actually get to do a classroom activity with their peers and come up with slogans about what does freedom mean to them, which was one of our banners that they had created, and another one was about how we can give back to veterans. And we're going to use those to give to one of our local VFWs, and the other one about what we can do for veterans we're going to keep here for us, and we're going to use it for a driving force for how we can celebrate those veterans from now on.
So another thing that we did this month is we try to empower our students and hear from them and their perspective. So I asked a bunch of 6th graders to do some morning announcements for our IPASS values, so inspiring, positive, accepting, safe, and supportive. They each got on the morning announcements and told us what that means to them. We also invited 2 of our teachers to do that as well. There's a picture in the corner. We also, at the end of IPASS Day, we did a student survey, and we had the students nominate who they felt displayed the IPASS values best that day. So they were able to kind of nominate each other and hear from them. And I posted some of their comments there. So they think that some others are, positive and bubbly, and it made me feel inspired. That's what the first one says. So I thought it was good to hear from them and empower them.
Another way that we interacted with our students during this time period was to make sure that we got in and do a classroom lesson. I started with our 5th grade students, where we started very literally with respect this month. It was important that we covered, consideration for others and how we embody empathy, as well as making sure that, we understand that respect might look different based on where we are. So when you are at recess, it might look different than what it looks like when we're in a classroom, but that it's okay for those things to happen, and we want them to know how to vary and make sure that they can make those changes. We also have started really integrating some great short videos when both Chris and Chris went to the Character Summit in DC last year. Their speaker was Steve Hartman, who does the On the Road stories on the news. And we've used a lot of those integrated into our lessons with the students to give them more of a current events look about how other people are interacting with each other and doing great things to help drive home what they can do and how they can be impactful. So we have integrated that into our classroom lessons as well. When Miss Urban went in for her 6th grade lesson, she also, started taking things a little differently. So we're still talking about respect, but we're looking more at it as inclusion. And what does that look like? And how are we respecting other people's differences and making sure that they have, more of a social awareness as they are becoming teenagers now, as they're starting to move into more of a middle school mindset. And we would be remiss if we did not talk about all of the other things that the school is doing. A big part of the month of October and Respect is the work that we are able to do across our schools. To really make sure that we are all sending the similar messages. We did have the great parent presentation that Jen Kenny helped to spearhead and put together with Jerry Esposito to talk about the digital dilemma and how to help our students through this digital age. We also, wanted to highlight some of the other things. Eisenhower did a chalk walk as well as post-it positive messages during the Week of Respect. All of the schools did their own anti-bullying lessons in the classroom, as well as having pledges and other decorations and bulletin boards to make sure that we were involving the students' work in that. And my favorite part is us having the older students come down to work with all of our students. So we had representatives from the high school come visit us from several of the different clubs and groups that they have, who got to spend lunchtime with all of our students, talk to them about what respect means, talk about how they can make a difference at their school, how do they handle bullying, all of those great conversations that were totally student driven. We basically give them the opportunity to sit down with them and just have lunch. And at the lower elementary level, we had the Eisenhower students from our peer leaders go over there as well. So it was a really great opportunity to let our students at the high school and middle school level be leaders and come and work with our students and really be great role models.
So in closing, I just wanted to say thank you for allowing us to do all these things, because without your support, we're unable to do these, especially with the peer-to-peer leadership. I want to thank Dr. Santora for us allowing to come to speak to all of you today, especially on Leo's big day. We're sorry to see you go, and thank you for all that you've done, and thank you to the team for coming out tonight. Thank you.
Thank you all. We appreciate that presentation, and we appreciate that Lincoln Roosevelt takes the time to work with the students on those personal skills that you're never going to find in a book and don't show up on a test, but it's probably what's going to prepare them for success in life, their later academic life, and then even beyond. So thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, do we have any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Well, I have one. It was posted on the door of the Board of Ed office, and usually I do not read anonymous correspondence, but this one I will. If you ran for election or re-election, please pick up your signs. I've seen some on Howard Boulevard in Mount Arlington. It's been nearly a week since election. I still see signs everywhere. Still see signs along roads. Thanks. See, they said thanks. Just for the future, it's been a practice in, oh, you're leaving?
Doesn't have to stay.
Thank you for coming.
Charlene snuck out, too.
Thank you so much. In the past, it's been a practice, not only by Board of Ed people, but by the town council people, to get our signs off the road the day after election. People are sick of looking at them by that time. So I hope the board will keep that tradition. And the council nobody was running this year, so you didn't see theirs out there. But watch it next year. See if there's any left by day 2 after the election. I doubt there will be. They've been very good in the past with that. So let's not let them outdo us, you know. Okay. Student rep comments. Katie, welcome back.
It's so nice seeing you all again, and thank you for having me. All right, so first I'm going to start off with fall sports. We have cheerleading, cross country, field hockey, football, gymnastics, marching band, soccer for both boys and girls, tennis, and volleyball. Those have all had amazing seasons. Even though they may have not came out with the results they wanted, seeing all of the teams practice and come together every day is seriously something in Roxbury, how we're talking about making sure everyone's always together working hard is something I really value in our school, even though if we don't come out with the results we want as a team. And now with all the fall sports coming to a close, we have winter sports as well. We have basketball for both boys and girls, indoor track, swimming, and we also have track and field that's indoors, wrestling, we also have bowling. And on with fall sports, I want to congratulate the marching band for being Class AA and J State Championships. And seeing them as a soccer player, a varsity soccer player, I see them working their butts off every single day. When I'm walking out to practice, I see them, they're all doing their warm-ups, and when I'm leaving, they're all still there, and they really do deserve this win. And now I'm gonna highlight some clubs that I think need some recognition. So on the line of sports, we have Varsity R, which is a club for varsity athletes that work on helping our community. Last week, there was a Horseshoe Lake cleanup where many students in our Varsity R club went to Horseshoe Lake across the street to help our environment. Approximately 20 whole garbage bags were full of trash and some was recycling, and it's great seeing all of our students help the environment. And also this club will be holding Pet Pictures with Santa on Saturday, December 7th. And then I'd also like to highlight Roxbury, which is a club that saves money and for pediatric cancer. So last week they had a Bean Brave fundraiser, which is a local business that has coffee and breakfast foods. So last week this fundraiser was held where students and teachers had the opportunity to order coffee and tea, and this helps the proceeds go to their funds for supporting pediatric cancer. And also their theme was released for this year's overnight, which is New York City, where the club last year shared that they raised a total of $77,000 towards cancer research. And I'd also like to highlight NHS, known as National Honor Society, where their induction is November 21st, which is 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And also I'd like to highlight the school newspaper called the Roxbury Review, where they're working really hard on their winter edition. The school's newspaper is also working really hard for their copy of the winter edition that will include winter holiday-themed articles involving our town and our school of Roxbury. And then to close things off, I'd like to end on something fun, which is the Powder Puff game, whereas last Friday, the junior and seniors played their annual flag football game with an entertaining halftime show that consisted of a cheer routine from the junior boys. The juniors won the game, but most importantly, it was an extremely memorable event for all that came, and I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess it's my turn, right? So we're up. Thank you, good night. It is my turn, right? So close to my page. Okay, as Katie told us, there's a lot happening in Roxbury, and again, I saw an article in the online newspaper in town, thanks to Fred, and I said, oh, I saw that one already. And then I started to read it, and I said, no, I didn't see that one. They won again. So congratulations to our marching gals for the tremendous accomplishments they have achieved. And also to the teachers and the others, there's a large group that support them. Teachers, parents, I don't know how big the group is, but it's a big group behind them that support our amazing students. So thank you to all of them. I do want to thank the students and staff, as Mr. Argenziano mentioned. They had a veterans program at Lincoln Roosevelt, but I attended one at Eisenhower, and I understand some of our other schools had some type of appreciation for military veterans on November 11th. So I want to thank them all for keeping our veterans in mind. And I think some of the students, at least from my experience, they appreciate the opportunity to have a conversation with a vet, even if it's the age of their grandfather. It'd be nice, I know we have younger vets in town, so it'd be nice if some of them would participate next year. But to all our Roxbury vets, thank you for your service. I want to offer congratulations on this last election to Kathy for re-election, and Kim Hopkins and Myrna Hernandez for their election. So we will be having orientation for Kim and Myrna in this week, a couple of days, yeah. Kathy, you're welcome to come, but I didn't think you needed, so you're good. I want to recognize a few of my fellow board members. First, Kathy. She's just recently achieved Master Board Member. When I saw Charlene here, I thought that's what she was here for, to give you the Master Board certification. That requires a minimum of 40 credits of training hours, attending state and regional activities, and a written exam. And then Ann Colucci, Certified Board Leader. So since it was the two of you, I thought that's why Charlene was here. Ann achieved Certified Board Leader, which is the highest level through the school board's academy. And that requires a minimum of 60 credits of training, attendance at state and regional activities, and the written exam. So congratulations to both of you. As far as things coming up for the board members, if you would, for your committee preferences for next year, we're going to ask Lauren to send out a Google form in which you can indicate your first, second, third, fourth, however many committees you want to be on, preferences, if you want to be a chairman, if you have interested in being president or vice president. So your responses will go back to Lauren. She'll compile them. Chris and I will review them as president and vice president. We'll prepare a compilation, which will be a recommendation. It's not required. It's be a recommendation to whoever you elect as president, because it's that person's choice to set up the committees, who they want as chairman, who they want on the committee. But I've always found it in the past, it really helps if you know which board members would like to be on or not like to be on or have a conflict. So you can indicate all that. So I've asked that it be indicated, it be due back in a week from tonight. It only takes 10 minutes of that to fill it out. And, you know, and if you're undecided about something, put it as your third or fourth choice or whatever. Like I say, it's not in stone because it's going to be up to the new president to assign the committees, but at least it gives them an idea of what you'd like to do. So watch that. That'll come by email. Our Morris County School Boards Association meeting is Wednesday, December 4th. I know several board members have already signed up for it. I would like to ask everybody from our board show, if you can. It's 6 o'clock if you go in person, but it's 6:45 virtual. So if you could at least sign up for virtual. Now, they had a thing up here when we had the Morris County Board meeting in Roxbury. I think people thought it was rigged because Frank was here, because we got so many, that's when we got the new certified board, we cleaned up on the awards that night. And I think people thought it was just because it was in our high school. But I think, with Kathy and Ann and we're getting their awards, and then we're going to get recognized for the aviation program, so it'll look like another Roxbury cleanup at Morris County. So it should be a big night for Roxbury. It'll be nice to have as many board members as possible. And it doesn't violate the quorum, because you're not going to be deciding anything. You're not going to be talking business. You don't even have to all sit at the same table. We can spread around a little bit. This week, on the 20th, is your superintendent coffee. That's Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the high school, right? Roxbury High School Media Center. Now, the last time I said, oh, Frank, you're going to talk about that, so I won't. I would like, again, I strongly recommend our current and our new board members to attend, and also strongly recommend the public attend. This was one of the big things with the survey that went out to 800 and some people responded to the survey when we were looking for what we were looking for in a superintendent. It was one of the high quality things was the superintendent who will be present for the people and be reachable and out there. And Frank, I think, has gone overboard in meeting that goal. And I think the more parents and board members that attend these things, you'll understand better what's happening in the district and why things are being done. So I think it just makes for a better district the more that we all understand it. And finally, there's lots of winter activities come around in the school. There's concerts and lots of things in December. And I'm going to ask, could we get a list, somebody put a list together to send out to the board members so you can pick and choose what you would like to attend? Most of them have some kind of musical performance, and our kids are excellent. You'll love hearing them with the winter concert. I don't know if is there play coming up too, or was that already? I missed that.
That was, yeah, in end of October.
Yeah, I missed that one. And finally, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. With that, Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Coakley. Good evening, everyone. I want to begin my report, as I always do, with a recognition of our amazing students. I get to, on a daily basis, witness our students in their classrooms, in the community, on the athletic fields or the performing arts stage, and they continue to impress and amaze me with their talent, passion, and determination. In large part, obviously, they get great support from home, but they have great role models in our staff who continue to impress me with their willingness to take on new initiatives, attend continuing professional development, and then use what they've learned on a daily basis to better support our students. So to our staff and our students, know that I'm incredibly proud to continue to serve as your superintendent. I do want to acknowledge that last Monday was Veterans Day. As Mr. Coakley mentioned, there was a number of initiatives throughout the district. I was lucky enough to attend the assemblies at Kennedy Elementary School and Franklin Elementary School. What struck me was the sheer number of veterans who, either from our local community or through connection to our students, attended the events. Not only did we get to honor those in attendance, we got to hear from our young students about their understanding of Veterans Day. And I feel very lucky to work in a community that seeks to expand our students' understanding and appreciation of veterans and what they sacrificed for our country. So thank you to all of the building principals, staff, and volunteers who worked to organize such great events. And thank you to all our veterans out there for your sacrifices, because we all benefit from it each and every day. As has been mentioned, our marching Gales continue to amaze us as they took home another championship and celebrated the end of another undefeated season. I was lucky enough to join the marching Gales and their families last week for their end-of-year banquet, and it was a very well-attended event with a great deal of enthusiasm as various speakers got to expand upon the incredible commitment that our students employ each and every day. Knowing that it's not just our students, but their families and staff who sacrifice, it was an incredibly humbling experience for me to be part of it, but congratulations to them once again. You certainly continue to make us proud. Shifting gears a little bit on tonight's agenda, you will see that we are recommending a candidate, Ms. Kristen Mangelli, to serve as the new Supervisor of Science, Technology, Engineering, Design, and Visual Arts. Ms. Mangelli is replacing Mr. Maughan, who transitioned to a role as the Assistant Principal of Roxbury High School earlier this fall. She comes to us from the New Brunswick School District, where she serves as a Supervisor of Science at the secondary level. But many, many years ago, she walked the halls as a student of Roxbury High School. So we welcome her home, and we can't wait for her to start in mid-January. Between now and then, we are also appointing an interim supervisor candidate, a Mr. James Gleason, who has served for multiple decades as a high school principal down in Monmouth County. So we're lucky to have him join us in the short term to conduct staff observations and to support staff in Ms. Mangelli's absence. As I've mentioned in prior Board of Education meetings, the district in August of 2024 applied for the Preschool Aid Expansion Grant, and unfortunately our application was denied. As I shared with all of you, I did reach out a few times to the Department of Education for clarification and for a meeting. That meeting took place on November the 4th. Mr. Montanaro and I met with a number of representatives from the Department of Education who were tasked with reviewing the applications. The meeting was very productive as they provided a great deal of feedback on how the district could enhance its application and make it more competitive for future grant cycles. We were informed that we cannot apply again until August of 2025. That being said, we do have a commitment from them to review our application as we refine it up until that point. And you should know as a community that our work has not ceased. We continue to explore additional partnerships with local area daycare centers, and the work at the Meeker Street building to create 2 new preschool classrooms continues as we are committed to this cause. And I would be remiss if I didn't underscore enough that at the conclusion of our meeting with the Department of Education, I did impress upon them that this is of critical importance to our district. Our district woefully needs this service, our students, our families, our community, and I do believe they heard me. So more on that is to come. As Mr. Coakley mentioned, on a monthly basis, I do host superintendent coffees. This past October, I hosted a work session centered around our revisions to the Portrait of a Graduate, and then the second part of that superintendent coffee focused on the Director of Special Services, Dr. Christine Seminario. She presented on various special education programs throughout the district, as well as her vision for the department in the future. So I do want to thank the many Board of Education members who attended, members of the public who attended, and I encourage everyone, if they can come out on Wednesday, November 20th, we'll continue our work around the Portrait of a Graduate, and we'll discuss updates and recent district initiatives. So I look forward to seeing all of you. I do want to inform parents that our new Supervisor of Student Support Services, Ms. Colleen Huguenin, is hosting the first in a series of parent focus group discussions beginning on December the 4th. Ms. Huguenin is inviting parents to come in to talk about their experiences in the scheduling, college preparation, and planning process, as well as communication. So I do encourage any interested parent to come out and discuss their experience. Ms. Huguenin has a very comprehensive view on how to enhance the services of this department in the district, and it's wonderful to see her vision take flight in our district. Today I had a quarterly progress meeting with all of the PTA leadership, all of our presidents of the various PTAs throughout the district, and I just want to take a moment and to thank them. It is amazing to hear of all the things they were able to accomplish in a given day. I'm not quite sure how they're able to do it, but it is quite obvious in terms of the services and programs that they support for our students and our community. So I want to thank our leadership. In Roxbury, we are very fortunate to have such a supportive philanthropic relationship with our PTAs, and we couldn't do the work without them. So thank you. Continuing on, I'd like to thank the REF. Tonight's agenda lists a donation, so thank you to the Roxbury Education Foundation for their donation, as it will be used for a wonderful cause. As has been mentioned before, a number of our Board of Education members are receiving certification honors this evening. So I want to congratulate both Ms. Ann Colucci as well as Mrs. Kathy Purcell on their various accomplishments. Mrs. Ann Colucci has earned the title of Certified Board Leader through New Jersey School Boards Association, and Mrs. Purcell has earned the title of Master Board Member. Both certification levels require a great amount of time and training, and I feel as a superintendent very fortunate to have such a highly trained board to support me and to work alongside. As was mentioned earlier as well, we have to coordinate better, I think. Mrs. Purcell, I want to congratulate her on her re-election win. I also want to acknowledge Ms. Kim Hopkins and Ms. Myrna Fernandez for their wins as well. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with you. I also want to acknowledge Ms. Caitlin Barba, Mr. Dave Faulkner, and Mr. Andrew Schlam for running wonderful campaigns as well. Thank you for your commitment and interest in serving on the board. And lastly, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Leo Coakley for his many years of service as a board member in Roxbury. As you've heard tonight, he has many accolades and accomplishments, but I can tell you firsthand that his kindness, leadership, and professionalism has been integral in my transition to the superintendency here in Roxbury. His commitment to providing whatever is best for students whenever they need it is something that is inspiring and admirable, and he is one who's truly made the role of board president his own. Mr. Coakley, I speak for everyone when I say thank you, and you will be sorely missed, but we wish you a great deal of luck in your, what round of retirement is this for you? But at any rate, thank you, Mr. Coakley. And lastly, I want to wish everyone a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's been great working with you, too. Okay. Joe?
Yep, my report
You got your
is,
report?
my report will be brief. We have the vision service plan renewal came in at, we dropped 2% on the standard plan and 8.5% on the premium plan, and we got a 2-year rate guarantee. So I really want to thank our brokers. This is a plan that is entirely paid by the employees, but, you know, our brokers not only work for us, but they work for the employees as well. The other thing on here I have is we got our quarterly Pritchard inspection done, and in every category, we were over 90%, which is phenomenal, and I think Ann always says how clean our buildings look. Well, this is one of the reasons. Number 3 on here is on December 9th, Monley of Nisvatia will present on our audit, and I'll give you a little preview. Kathy, how many findings? That's right.
Zip, huh?
Zippo. And I want to congratulate Kathy and Ann for your certifications, and your certified board leader certification, Kathy, your master board certification. And finally, I want to thank Leo. You know, Leo and I have spent many a night in negotiations. I'm a better business administrator and a better person just for having known Leo. I can't thank him enough for just sharing his knowledge with me. He taught me a lot about negotiations. You know, he would share spreadsheets with me, spreadsheets that I had already done, and I'd compare. Did I get that right? And, you know, we've done several negotiations, and I will always remember our last negotiation, which was the transportation bus drivers. You let me take that one home alone. But that told me that, you know, you had faith in me, and that really, and I really appreciated that, Leo. So really, thank you, and enjoy your second retirement. Full retirement. Thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. It was great. I mean, we had some, with Kathy and Ann and the other people, we had some really late evenings some of the times. Yes. But we got those cannolis eventually, once in a while. No, you didn't get them. Well, I had to bring them, so. Not at board expense, you know. I just want to mention our administration is now in budget preparation time, and Joe sent a copy of the budget schedule to the Finance Committee. So everybody has that in your board packet, but not as a separate document. Look in the Finance Committee notes or agenda, and you will find a link in there to the schedule. Now, while it's the administration's job to prepare the budget and submit it to us, it's our job to make sure that we have a budget, and you have no worries with our current administration, but it is a board responsibility to know there's a reasonable schedule for putting the budget together in a timely manner to meet the deadlines in the spring. So our job has been made a lot easier because of the people we have, but it doesn't take away our responsibility. And now we go to the minutes. So in the exec session, there were no additions or corrections to the exec minutes. Are there any for the regular meeting minutes of October the 14th? Any additions or corrections? None? Seeing none? So we can do one motion to accept the regular meeting minutes and the executive session minutes for October 14th. Who'd like to move that? Kathy and Chris. Take a roll call, please.
Mr. Bonilla.
Yes.
Mrs. Colucci.
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri.
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor.
Yes.
Mr. Mildy.
Yes.
Mrs. Purcell.
Yes.
Ms. Shenick. Mr. Staples. And Mr. Coakley.
Yes.
Passes.
Committee reports. So we'll start with Community Relations Shared Services.
We did not meet.
We did not,
There were no
right.
issues. Our next meeting is December 3rd at 6 p.m., I believe, virtually.
What date?
December 3rd.
December the 3rd. Okay. Education, Brian?
Education met on November 11th at 6 o'clock virtually. A number of items were discussed, especially new course proposals, which I think are all great additions, especially the Algebra 1 honors. To finally get some honors opportunities in the middle school, I think is fantastic. The Dr. Sipe, do you have anything to add? Sorry, I was out for that meeting, so.
It's okay, nothing that wasn't already covered in the other reports. Our next meeting is December 2nd, 7 o'clock virtually.
Yep, you beat me to it.
Thank you. Facilities, Ann.
Okay, we met on November 12th. We talked about the pictured inspection that Joe just talked about. We also talked about at Lincoln and Roosevelt on the field, we have a shed there now. And it's going to be for the athletes' equipment and the physical ed equipment right on Lincoln Roosevelt. And we also talked about at the high school, at the main entrance, they're going to be fixing the steps there. That's going to be all new, coming up in a couple months. And a railing. And next meeting will be December 3rd at 3:45, and it will be virtual.
Okay, thank you. Finance, Carol.
Yeah, we met also on November 12th, and we discussed a lot of the things, what we discussed is on the agenda, plus we discussed the preschool meeting that Dr. Sipe and I think, was it Mr. Montanaro had? We discussed that. The audit review, 0 findings, which is, I think that might be a first. I don't know. And IDEA carryover. And our next meeting will be on December 3rd.
Okay, thank you. Personnel, Kathy?
The Personnel Committee met on November 14th virtually at 5:30. Resolutions 1 through 17 on pages 8 through 14 were discussed as written. Our next meeting will be held on December 5th.
Okay, Chris, Policy and Governance?
P&G did not meet. We will be meeting on December 2nd at 6 p.m.
Okay, negotiations did not meet, but there is an item that's currently being considered that, since it's negotiations, it was discussed in exec. Sustainability. 7 silvers.
Woohoo! Yes, all 7 Roxbury schools were recognized at an awards luncheon hosted by Sustainable Jersey for Schools on October 23rd during the New Jersey School Board Conference in Atlantic City. And we were well represented. We had 7 of our staff members along with some board members in attendance at that luncheon. Roxbury is one of only 4 districts in the state of New Jersey who can claim that all of their schools are silver certified. So I have a lot of appreciation for all of the hard work that went in by the staff and the students to get us there. Our first submission to maintain our silver status, the application is due on January 13th of 2025, so we are working towards that. And I also would like to take a moment to thank Leo Coakley for all of his support and encouragement in getting us to silver and our district's sustainability efforts overall. He has always been such a champion of getting us over that finish line, and whatever he could do to take a class or training in order to assist in meeting that goal. It's been a true pleasure to work alongside you, and you are truly an inspiration, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that. Just for the sake of the board members, there's not a whole lot the board members can actually do. A lot of this is at building level activities for sustainability. There are some things at district level, but the one thing that board members can do is take some of the courses that are available, particularly at workshop, that pertain to sustainability. So I think you only need to take, 2 hours a year, and if we get 5 board members to do 2 hours a year, we get extra points towards the program. So that's about all we can do, and I don't think it's a lot to ask. The unfortunate part is none of them are online, like you can't do them virtually. And I've bugged New Jersey school boards about that because I realize that, most of you work in a day. So it's really tough to attend these sessions, particularly if they're out of the area. So that's something I suggest maybe this board keep bugging New Jersey school boards, because we have done so well with sustainability. Let's bug them to get more districts to try to match us. I won't say match us, but try to match it. Just Morris County, for example, there's 30-some districts that have enrolled in the program. Mendham and Roxbury are the only ones that have any certified schools, as far as I could find. And of course, Mendham only has bronze. We have 7 silver. So, and that's just Morris County. There's other counties that have more. New Brunswick, they're overboard with participation down in that area. So I'm surprised. Morris County usually prides itself in being the leader and outstanding in everything that there is to do. And this one they haven't. Okay, we have the opportunity for public comments. Do we have any blue slips? Let me off easy tonight. Okay, on action items, we have a reorganization item appointing the Assistant BA as the Child Protection and Permanency Homeless Liaison for the 24-25 school year. So that doesn't fall under any committee. Chris, you want to move that?
Sure. I'll move reorganization resolution 1.
Is there a second? Oh, I was looking that way, sorry. Valerie hit her hand up. So, are there any questions about that resolution? Not seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bonilla?
Yes.
Mr. Coakley?
Yes.
Mrs. Colucci?
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri?
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor?
Yes.
Mr. Mildy?
Yes.
Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick? And Mr. Staples? Yes. Passes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Kathy. You got another job.
Thank you.
You did so well with sustainability. Okay, on the bottom of page 2 and then running into page 3, we have our finance resolutions 1 through 20. Carol,
Yes, I'd like to move finance resolutions 1 through 20.
is there a second? Chris, are there any questions on the finance resolutions? Going once, twice, 3 times. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bonilla?
Yes.
Mrs. Colucci?
Yes and all.
Ms. Galdieri? Mrs. McGregor?
Yes.
Mr. Mildy?
On resolution 7, I'm recusing on items 3, 13, and 14. Yes to everything else.
Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick?
Okay, on the bills list, I have a number of recusals. First is PO 25-2300. That's for myself for the reimbursement for the convention expenses. PO 25-2218, Dr. Sipe. PO 25-2242, Dr. Santora. PO 25-2372 and 2142, Mr. Maughan. And PO 25-2243, Ms. Ferrara. And then the travel request, yes on all the rest of the bills list. And then the travel request, number 2, Ms. Ferrara, number 6, Mr. Trotter, and number 13, Dr. Sipe. And yes on all the rest of the travel requests, and yes on all the rest of the resolutions.
Mr. Staples?
Yes.
And Mr. Coakley?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. On page 7, education resolutions 1 through 8, Brian,
I'd like to move education items number 1 through 8.
is there a second? Kathy, are there any questions or comments on the education resolutions? Seeing none, we'll take roll call vote on the education.
Mr. Bonilla?
Yes.
Mrs. Colucci?
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri? Mrs. McGregor?
Yes.
Mr. Mildy?
Yes.
Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick?
Yes.
Mr. Staples?
Yes.
And Mr. Coakley?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Page 8, personnel, before the motion on the agenda, resolution number 5. we are removing line item number 7. So the motion will be for resolutions 1 through 17 as in the agenda and amended. Kathy?
Yeah, I'd like to move personnel resolutions 1 through 17 as amended.
Is there a second? Chris? Any questions on the personnel resolutions? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bonilla?
Yes.
Mrs. Calucci?
Yes.
Ms. Galdieri?
Yes.
Mrs. McGregor?
Yes.
Mr. Mildy?
Yes.
Mrs. Purcell?
Yes.
Ms. Shenick?
In personnel resolutions, I have to recuse on number 5 appointments. Number 3, James Gleason, and number 4, Kristen Mangelli. Yes on all the rest.
Mr. Staples?
Yes, as amended.
And Mr. Coakley?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. If you go to page 14, we have our executive session for the December 9th meeting. Would someone care to move that?
Sure.
Sharon?
See, Sharon? It's time to retire. Sharon and Brian. See, I finally got you for a second. I know, it goes on your resume, right? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. So we have the executive session set up. And now, any blue slips or?
No, sir.
No? Okay, so board member comments. Chris?
I'll say. Thanks, Chris. I just want to give a little bit of recognition to our Roxbury Junior Gales, our 7th and 5th graders. To the 7th graders, the junior varsity Junior Gales, they had an undefeated football season. They went 10-0 in the regular season. They qualified for the championship. They went and defeated Rockaway in the semis, and then they defeated Morristown 32-0, complete shutout. So congratulations to them on having an undefeated season. And then our 5th graders, they went 7-1 during the regular season. They then beat Randolph 13-0 in the finals. So that we have 5th and 7th graders who are championship winners. So in a couple years, we're going to have another elite group of football players coming up to the high school. So we look forward to seeing them. And congratulations to everyone at REC who really put in the time to coach and mentor and support our Junior Gales. And let's hope to have another great season moving forward. All right, thanks.
Very good, thank you. Now, Chris.
Yeah, just wanted to say it's been a pleasure, Leo. Only a couple years, but I second pretty much everything everybody else has said. One word that I can certainly use to describe you is dedicated. We have not always seen eye to eye on every issue, but the process we definitely have always agreed on. So I appreciate everything you've done for me in the short time I've been here and the board members. So good luck to you, and you might be hearing from me, so.
So, of course, Leo, you know I'm going to miss you a ton, but I just want to hope that I can mimic a lot of your behavior and help to mentor the newer people, recognizing the newer board members that are going to be on, because you and Brian are leaving, and Brian, I know we're neighbors, and hopefully we'll see each other once in a while, but I think we had a really nice board, and I'm looking forward to what happens in the future, and I hope I can mimic a lot of what you've done for us. Thank you for everything you've done for us.
First of all, I want to say congratulations, Leo, on your second retirement. And it's been great working with you. You've taught me a lot. And your restraint and your kindness and level-headedness has been an example, and I hope I can be like you. Sometimes there's been tense situations, and Leo's always sat there like, let's just, Anyway, the second thing I want to shout out to the president of the Franklin PTO. She hosted an event for Operation Christmas Child. It started out in her house. Her and her kids would pack a few boxes for kids overseas. You pack a bunch of school supplies and hygiene supplies in a shoebox, and it goes to poor countries, kids, and sometimes it's the only gifts these kids get in their life. And, well, anyway, it started out in her house, and it's grown so big that they have to rent out the firehouse. And I forgot how many people were there, but it was definitely over 100, and it was all families, and they were teaching kids. It was all Roxbury kids, and each of the kids were packing these little toys in a shoebox, and they were writing notes to kids overseas, and she had Santa there, and she just did a really fabulous job, and it's a nice lesson to teach our kids giving. And it really was touching to see that many families show up. It was great.
Ann?
Okay, I have a couple things. Yes, it was great. They collected over 200 boxes. Dr. Sipe, he was there with his children, busy packing up boxes. She started with 4 boxes at her house like 3 years ago, and it's now over 200 boxes. It was amazing. It was amazing. Also, you know I'm the liaison to the town council. Last week, we had the Brownie Troop 98652 that was at the town council. They were learning to the town government, and Mayor Albright was walking them around, explaining everything. And I had just walked in, I was sitting in the back of the room, and she says, "Is there any questions?" And one little girl raised her hand and said, can you make homework illegal? So Mayor Albright said, "You might have to ask Mrs. Colucci that." So I told them that I would bring it back to the superintendent, that they were asking about that, okay? The second thing is, Leo, I'm going to start crying. Thank you. You had taken me under your wing when I first started. You taught me so much, so much. You had a lot of patience with me with all my questions. And anytime I called you, you always said, "Hello." But you had taught me so much, and I'm not saying goodbye because I will be calling you. Thank you so much for everything you have done for me and for the town of Roxbury.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, I'm the only one I think that hadn't said anything yet about, you leaving. I'm going to miss you very much. You've been a phenomenal president. The 2 times that you were president when you were on the board, I believe you had served 2 separate terms. And what's interesting is that you had mentored me as well, and I had served as your vice president for 1 or 2 terms, I think, when you were president before this. And you had talked me into becoming president, and that was in 2020 when COVID hit. So
Yeah, that was kind of a trick, wasn't it? I
that's
didn't know
right.
it was coming.
2020 was when I started, and I was there for 3 years, and it was a very tough 3 years. We had a lot of emergent issues, not so much educational. It was really very different, and you were so helpful to me, and I couldn't have done it without you because it was a very tough 3 years for all of us, and for the whole district. But thank you so much for taking me under your wing, and then I pass the torch back to you, and you've done a great job. I guess that's been 2 years ago, right? You've been the last 2 years. So you have been a wonderful president, and we're so lucky to have had you. And I don't think I've ever properly thanked you for everything you've done for me. So thank you so much, Leo.
I just want to give one more shout out to the 8th grade cheer representing Roxbury. They won regionals in Trenton, and they now qualify for their Disney bid and national competitions. All right, so if you see a cheer person or a Roxbury junior again in the 5th and 6th grade, 5th or 7th grade, give them a high five.
My last thing too is just going to go out to Leo, and it's more of an appreciation and also advice, not to you. You can give me advice all day. The best aspects of Leo is his patience is his dedication, that he goes to so many things like a lot of you guys do. But it's also that he stays neutral. And I think that's very important, that as you select a new president for next year, that you select somebody that's going to not have an agenda and that's going to stay neutral. And that's one of the biggest things that Leo has always been. Whether you like his decisions, don't like his decisions, that's neither here nor there. You know, I would never even know what Leo's political affiliation is, because he just answers things of what's in the best interest of the kids, what's in the best interest of the decision-making of the district, and he's a big fan of stay in your lane, and that's what I like so much about you. So just as you guys select your next president, I encourage you to pick somebody who's going to do the same thing.
Thank you. And I know you have another meeting. You'll be here in December. But I want to thank you for your time. And I think the highlight, again, as I mentioned, was when we met to pick superintendent, that we all got in there. We all had opinions. We didn't start out with when we had 42 candidates. So it was a process. It wasn't an easy process, and you all worked at it. So I'm going to thank all of you for that. And I think that is the highlight of this board was that was our most important job that year, because that's what we do, is pick the superintendent. From then on, as Brian said, we stay in our lane and he's in his lane and he does his job. So, and I think this board has been great with letting him do his job and supporting him. I appreciate all the comments and the feedback. As you know, I have tried over the years to make sure every board member has a voice. We added the board member comments at the end so that if you didn't have an opportunity, you always have the opportunity to talk on the motions, because you always ask, are there any questions or comments? But sometimes there's something else you want to bring up to the board. So we put that in. And I think we've done the same thing with the audience. We've given them an opportunity, and people, the meeting that we had 600 people at, that was a good meeting. That was not a bad meeting. That was a good meeting, and it showed this board was willing to put the time in. We stayed till 12:30 at night. We listened to both sides. And I got a compliment from somebody. I was out for a walk one day, and he said, I don't always agree with your positions, but he says, I like the way you run the meetings. So I hope that tradition will continue, that our board will continue to listen to the public, listen to each other, and listen to the issues and not pick on the person. I think we have evolved from fighting each other to working together, even if we have different opinions. And that's a good thing. If everybody had the same opinion, why would we need 9 Roxbury board members? You know? So it's good that we have different opinions, different perspectives, and that we discuss them and work them out, but not take it personally. It's not worth it, taking it personally. So I greatly appreciate it. I enjoyed working with the administration and with the board members, and it's been fun, and I hope it continues to be fun for you. It should be fun for you. You should enjoy working on a board, and you should, every once in a while, pat yourself on the back for what this board has accomplished. So thank you. Always give the superintendent the last word.
I love that. Not much else can be said. I think, it's wonderful to hear the different perspectives each board member has shared regarding you. I've known you the least amount of time, but your impact on my personal and professional life has been pretty immense. So, Leo, you're going to be missed. Brian, I'll save my comments for you for the next Board of Education meeting. And thank you to all of our board members for coming to so many different events and to highlight the different aspects of our community. It's wonderful. I can't be everywhere. I try to be, but you all are present for a lot of things. So I'm very lucky to have such a present board in our community as well. And with that, I'll conclude. Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll wish everybody happy Thanksgiving and take a resolution to adjourn. Who wants to do it? Brian and Milo. No. Well, I can. The president can make a resolution, but it's not our practice. So we got Brian and Milo. All in favor? I move we adjourn. Milo and Brian both second it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. We are adjourned, 8:55. Unofficially, I have the record.